It seemed to me that Hollywood took a walloping blow with COVID and then the strike. I used to go to movies all the time.
Yep, same.
To theaters.
Same.
I love going to movies. And I've gone to very few movies since COVID.
Who was the last movie star?
Are they the last of a dying breed?
Well, some of this stuff is going to come back to haunt people.
Is Hollywood burning to the ground? We used to look up to movie stars, but now everything has changed. Today, we are reacting to Jordan Peterson interviewing Dennis Quaid on what has changed. Why has Hollywood completely flipped the script? So let's dig into it.
Let me return to Hollywood, if you don't mind. It seemed to me that Hollywood took a walloping blow with COVID and then the strike. And one of the things I've noticed about myself is I used to go to movies all the time.
Yep, same.
To theaters. Same. I love going to movies. And I've gone to very few movies since COVID. It's kind of like, I don't know if I got out of the habit. It's something like that. Partly, I used to know where to get reliable reviews for upcoming movies. Like I was in the stream. I knew what was coming out of Hollywood. I made plans to go see the movies.
Right.
That all disappeared. And now I don't know how to get back to that. But I think...
And you're wondering, is it because of my age?
Must be. Yeah. Well, that could be too.
Yeah.
Although, see, I don't know.
Or is it just that way?
Well, I also don't know that. And of course, the media landscape is fragmented too. And so it's hard to figure out what sources you can rely on for information.
The way they advertise movies is nowhere near what it used to be. It used to be just like an ad in the newspaper.
Yeah. Wow. And that was enough.
Yeah. And then it became like TV ads. And audiences could smell a movie.
Yeah, right.
It was like so surprising. It was just like, I remember for me personally, Breaking Away, when that came out, it was hard. There's no advertising or anything like that. And you were driving to the theater, to go for the, like the opening of it, on that Friday.
Yeah.
And there's a line around the block.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, people are in the movie.
How do they
culture.
know?
Well,
do you remember the magic of what it felt like when we were younger, when we would go as a family to watch a movie? Just the anticipation,
and then
the drive on the way,
waiting in line to buy the ticket. You couldn't buy it online.
Remember, for example, guys, you guys that would know out there, like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. That was the one that I remember the most, right? Standing in line, you look and you see the billboard poster on the side of the wall. You could smell the popcorn. You could smell the refreshment, people getting their candy, their icy pop, or what is it called?
Slushies.
Slushy, exactly. And you're standing next to the kid who has the blue tongue because he's having his slushie, and it's just like this magical experience. And you sit down in your seat, and the trailers are awesome. Everybody can view them, and then you're waiting for the movie to start. It's just not like that anymore.
Well, back in the day with movies, you would wait months for a movie to come out.
Yeah.
I remember when Attack of the Clones, the Star Wars, it was the second of the prequels. And I remember that came out. I was 13 when it came, or 10 or 13, I think, when it came out. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. And now I have to wait 3 years to see Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And so you had to wait 3 years for a new movie to come out, or a year for a movie to come out, and you would count the days. And then you and your family, you couldn't buy stuff online, so you had to show up, wait in line, and that whole experience. Because I think streaming is kind of what changed everything. Yeah. We now take for granted what movies used to be.
Swipe. It's just like dating culture. It's swipe, 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 swipe. Next movie, next movie, next movie. And it's the anticipation is what has been lost. And Hollywood, unfortunately, they had to switch over to streaming, or else they wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, correct.
And the theater experience is what they're talking about. Hasn't really been the same. But I do want to hear Dennis's perspective on where we are now.
Well, that's the thing, is that these things are very fragile, is that we never know what makes a whole enterprise work. And if people are movie fans, they're in the movie culture. They track it. And if you break that, it's like...
That's gone.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, okay, so you feel that's gone.
You don't see Roger Ebert on television anymore. There was a whole culture that went with it that everybody watched. What are the new movies coming up? And laying them out there, what they're about, and all that, and
and you knew months in advance.
Really, great debates on what they were about, and
so how do you view the current reality and the potential future of the film industry? Are there still stars?
that's the thing. Who was the last movie star?
Well, from what I've been able to understand, the only star truly standing.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Cruise?
No, Cruise, that's going too far back. Leo, I mean,
Yeah.
the last movie, they're still out there.
Yeah,
They do occur.
Yeah, they're out there, but they also, my sense too is that, and I don't really know what to make of this, that are they the last of a dying breed?
Well, the new is like, it's gone to social media.
Yeah.
That's where the new movie stars are. I mean, Justin Bieber, the first star, totally created on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not nowhere near the traditional way
Yeah.
of doing it. And then the actors now are the same way. They have their Instagram page. They self-advertising.
Yeah.
And but it used to be back then, movie stars, like going up and really until the 80s, 90s, true movie star, you wouldn't do a talk show on TV.
Yep.
You would avoid TV like the plague.
Right.
Jack Nicholson, you would never see him on a talk show. He'd do one interview in a prestigious magazine, whether it be Time, Playboy,
Right.
whatever it was.
Right.
That's
part of that protection of
do one
exclusivity.
interview.
Yeah.
And you would, some guy would spend a couple of days with him or something, but you really wouldn't. There was a mystery to him.
Yeah.
So that when you went to the theater, really what makes a movie star is you go to the theater, they are a mystery. You don't know too much really about their life.
Yeah.
So
You don't want to
imprint
either.
your own life on them.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
That's what happens.
What do you
Wow.
think? What do you think of that?
No, that's fascinating.
You put because the way that social media is now is that you get so much insight. So much insight. It could be fake, but Instagram profiles, stories of creators and movie stars. You kind of don't. There's no mystery anymore. There's no exclusivity.
You can follow someone on a daily basis now. And the crazy thing is, I think it began with TV. TV started to take over the movie industry. And now you would have big movie stars actually being in TV shows. Back in the day, TV was considered the lower breed. If you were in TV, it was because you couldn't make it in Hollywood as a movie star. That's how it used to be. But then because of how lucrative it is and because of all these streaming services, all these huge actors from Cillian Murphy with Peaky Blinders, even Tom Hardy was in Peaky Blinders. And those kind of shows, now you move to that because it's guaranteed work.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you could do one movie every 5 years and that you'd be a multimillionaire and you'd be fine. But now, unless you are a top actor, they don't have the budget of that anymore.
Yeah, Netflix has the budget.
Yeah, so now, but I will say the one good thing is now with the streaming industry, it's made it so that lower budget movies can actually get action now.
Yeah.
And Korean stuff. I love, my favorite stuff watching right now is Korean. Make fun of me if you want. I love Korean shows.
Not K-pop.
Not K-pop. No, I love Korean shows. And it's allowed me to see other cultures that I normally wouldn't go to a movie theater to watch. But I think TV taking over the film industry is what would began.
Pairing TV with social media now is it's absolutely insane. You have Netflix of the world, Amazon Prime, Hulu. If you're going to be a real big success and make a lot of money, you have to be on a streaming platform.
You see them for something inside you.
Yeah.
And that's what makes a movie star.
Well, you actually don't want to know much about the personal life of an actor.
And now it's like, it got to be that you just do everything.
Yeah.
About everybody.
Yeah.
And
that brings them down to earth, and that's not good if you're a star.
Well, it doesn't create mystery.
Yeah, right.
Let's put it that way.
I wonder, too, how much of it is the fact that, like, when you and I grew up, being on television was, like, that was a remarkable and unlikely occurrence to be personally on television, even to know someone who was on television. The bandwidth was so narrow.
Yeah.
And then the movies were above that.
Yeah.
Right? It was easier to be on TV than on the movies.
Right.
But now everyone is on TV all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's another borderline between the public and the actor that's disappeared. It's like everybody is videoed from the time they're young.
But there's no going back. I mean, that's the way the world heads. And good things come out of it. Good thing.
What do you see that's good coming out of it?
Well, for one thing, there's really a broad communication in the zeitgeist. People have taken over their own stories.
Yeah.
And like, you could be like me and choose not to participate very much. I I mean, I have an Instagram page, I have a Facebook page, and then, but I didn't grow up with it. So it seems like a real chore to me.
Yeah.
And
right. It's not your culture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I like face-to-face communication, and I like this.
Why?
This is great.
Why do you like this?
It's a real. I feel like I'm. That is one good thing about today, as opposed to then, is that you could do an interview like with a magazine, and somebody was out to do a job on you, because they kind of feel like they build you up. You have this fall, and then you have the comeback. But like with this, it's unfettered. And I get to represent myself.
Well,
in my way.
YouTube's great for that, and podcasts are great for that. And
going back to something that Dennis Quaid said, I remember when I was a kid, if a character that I loved died in a movie, I was devastated.
Yeah.
And it was because you think of it as them actually dying. Nowadays, if a character dies, I'm like, well, I'll just wait for the next movie they're in, or I'll wait for the next show.
Yeah, there'll be another movie in 3 months.
I already follow their Instagram page, whatever it could be. So it kind of gets rid of that mystery or that false reality of the person actually dying,
because you paired yourself to them, as he said.
You connected with them, and you didn't know everything about their life, so you could portray yourself onto them and create that bond of, oh, I see parts of myself in you, instead of now you're saying, oh, he's on Instagram, so whatever. And now the biggest replacement for movie stars is influencers on YouTube. And think of the Andrew Tates of the world, right?
And Mr. Beast,
Jake Paul, Logan Paul. Those guys are bigger than many movie stars.
Oh yeah.
And it's because people will follow them all the time. You would rather build a fake relationship in your mind with somebody than actually just go see a movie of somebody and then worship them like they used to be worshipped back in the day.
It's a different form of worship. What do you worship? Comment below. What do you worship?
They really reward unfettered communication. Like the people I've talked to, anybody I've talked to on my YouTube channel who politics or is false, they get slaughtered. Like if they say
it comes out very quickly. You find out who people are. You can't hide so much.
Well, that's what Joe Rogan told me. He said, you can tell if there's anything to anyone after about 20 minutes. Because you can, people who are hollow, they're exhausted, especially in a podcast like Rogan's, which is 3 hours long. It's like there better be some depth to you to get through that conversation in an interesting manner for 3 bloody hours.
They're kind of like, let's see what happens like 30 years from now when, some of this stuff is going to come back to haunt people. I mean, some of the things that I did and thought or whatever, back in my teens, 20s, man, I'm so glad it's not on YouTube.
That's for sure, man.
Thank you, Lord.
Exactly the same way. I can't imagine, I remember most of my adolescence and my adolescent friends as really a non-stop parade of stupid decisions.
Right? You should be able to make those stupid decisions in private.
Giving exactly what Dennis Quaid just said, a practical application for my generation is OnlyFans. Can you imagine being an OnlyFans model, having relations on camera, and then 20, 30 years from now, your kids are in college and they're posting videos of your mom and sending it to you as a bullying tactic? That's already happening today to kids in elementary school and middle school, because everybody has phones, is using it as a bullying tactic. And the next generation that goes up through college and high school and college and middle school, that is going to be absolutely horrendous. Like because a lot of these OnlyFans models are going to regret their decisions. But the thing is once it's on the internet, it's on there forever. Whatever you portray now in this information age that we're in, there's no going back, guys. Think about that. There is no going back for the decisions you make. Anything you post online will be there forever. And your children's children will see that, and it will be a representation of you. So be very careful what you post online.
That's all I have to say.
We are the Wilson Brothers, and we will see you on the next video.
Subscribe. Peace.